Yes, I think we can start again. We have arrived at the last presentation in this session before lunch. It's again a joint paper by Simon Krek, Andrea Abel, and myself. And the title is Dictionary Writing Systems and Corpus Query Systems Used in e-Lexicography Throughout Europe. It will be presented by Simon.
Thank you. So, good day. And without further ado, I have to admit that this presentation was already presented somewhere, and it was in a different format, much longer one, presented at the Vienna meeting of the European Network of e-Leicography. And first of all, I have to say a few words about this cost action. It's something that started in 2013. It will last until 2017. Basically, cost actions involve meetings. It means that you have a certain topic. In this case, we have e-Leicography. A lot of people from Europe, basically, because it's a thing funded by European Commission. And so in our case, we have e-Leicography, and we'll meet and discuss various topics until 2017. You can find all information about the cost action itself at this address here. Usually cost actions have 4 so-called working groups. What was done here was done within working group 3, this cost action, which is called Innovative E-Dictionaries. It's dedicated to finding ways how to produce or do anything with dictionaries in digital form in new environments. The rise of the internet, mobile technologies, and so on. So we're thinking about topics. But in this particular survey that we made, and it was done within a thing that is called short-term scientific mission. Basically, people go somewhere for a few days or three weeks or whatever, and do certain things within this topic. And what I have done after Bolzano, actually, a very detailed survey, because we wanted to know how people in this particular cost action use, or working group, use dictionary writing systems and corpus. So, more information about this you will get as deliverables of the Vienna meeting on these addresses. And we produced basically 2 things. One is the survey, and the other one is the bibliography of all the corpus querying systems, dictionary writing systems that we were, got feedback on. So it's a fairly exhaustive, I think, deliverable. So we thought together, Carole, that we have a rather unique opportunity, because we have a large lexicographic community working within one action. So we can afford to make a very detailed survey on how dictionary writing systems and corpus querying systems are used within this particular community. So it has daunting 92 questions. So it takes a lot of time to finish. Well, it can take 3 minutes if you don't use anything. But if you actually use dictionary writing systems and query systems, it will take, I don't know, an hour and a half, something like that, on 27 pages. And we got from all the participants 59 participants actually got to the end. And another 10, well, stuck somewhere in the middle, but we could still use some of the data. So we have a total of 9 survey results. And a lot of people also started and didn't finish here. And this was done between August last year and January. The survey itself you can download and see how it looks. So the coverage of countries. This is the numbers. So 22 countries are covered in the survey, because it's difficult to see what kind of coverage we have. We also produced maps. So on the left side, you see the countries that are actually involved in this cost action, and the participants coming from one of these countries, finishing the survey on the right. So we didn't have anything from France, right? Now you can imagine. It's also important to say what kind of institutions were covered. By far, we have the most institutions that are in this cost action are actually language for particular languages. That's why this is our top line. So 17 actually such, with 33 participating members. Then we have some people from universities, mixed ones. Companies are not well represented here. Also individual researchers or lexicographers. Positions of the people that filled in the survey are basically lexicographers. Then we have researchers, so probably at the universities, because the working group 3 is a kind of between natural language processing and lexicography. This is why we have a lot of people also from the information science field, like computational linguists, NLP researchers, and so on, professors. These are positions that were at least put in the form at least twice. Then we have a lot of individual self-descriptions, which are interesting, some of them, like go-to guy for all things IT, or corpus linguist and designer, probably corpus designer, not designer of, don't know, meta lexicographer, and so on. So the list is here. Various kinds of dictionary writing systems. So the results I will go through. To get the whole picture, you need to go to the deliverable, which is on the first page, the link. Now I will just show you a bit of, to get the feeling what kind of information, what kind of questions we asked, what kind of information you can expect there. So the basic question was, do you or your institution or your project use any specialized software to use dictionary-like products? Very general one. And 48 of the 69 do. And the interesting question is, what kind of software do you use? Do you use something that can be bought actually on the market? And we only got 10 answers that this kind of software with the terminology software from SDL top. And on the other hand, it turned out that really a lot of people use their own software. So when we got the answers, we kind of categorized what type or where is the software coming from? Is it completely new? So somebody actually programmed stuff from scratch, or some existing type of software used, like an XML editor, existing ones, or from database, or from something that is not database or XML editor, but something else. We didn't want to categorize further, or I think a new thing, very well. I think, well, this is my opinion, that it will be used more and more. So software coming from well-established platform like Wiki and used for various particular projects. So we had also examples, presentations of types of software in Vienna. So you can also find these presentations on the same page that I showed. And we had DebDict as a representative of new software. I think it will be also presented as part of it. eLex conference. And we had a presentation from Dutch lexicology, from the University of Gothenburg, also new software. Then one example of software created on the basis of a database, and the DVDS project, which uses basis XML. So these are examples. If you know this projects or software, you can see what we meant by each category. So further, we asked more specific questions, like, does your dictionary writing include control and validation of dictionary structure or syntax? Which means that you use XML schemas, you use DTD or whatever in that direction. And typically we got these numbers. You'll see further also. So 35%. Another one, if you check consistency, does your dictionary writing system include consistency checking according to the style guide? So you have closed sets of labels or whatever. And the number is kind of similar, 29. Do you use templates for common dictionary structures or parts of structures? So if you have, for instance, I don't know, an entry with two senses will be pre-coded, things like that. So this is the number for that kind of part of dictionary writing systems. And then you have another category. We went into fine graining and fine graining. Does your dictionary writing system include a real-time spell checker? Only 12%. And in the end, the question was, does your dictionary writing system, is it included or linked or whatever with a Corpus query system? Now we're getting to Corpus. Only 15%. And does your system integrate dictionary writing system, one piece of software? Very low number. And what does it mean? So we also asked if your dictionary writing system is linked or does anything together with Corpus query system, what does it do? So the answer is it's connected via API. The examples are collected from the other one. You can copy and paste, so on. automatically linked. So the interaction is not really very intensive. And now the other part, corpus query system. So of all the answers we got, so why is this number 61? Because in the beginning you could say I don't use anything. So you wouldn't get to that question. Beginning. So 65%. And also the same question. So do you use an open source or off-the-shelf thing already or ready-made? And which one do you use? So a lot of people use sketch engine or no sketch engine and the IMS Open Corpus Workbench from the 90s. And one folio used for Windows. And other are, again, software is developed in-house, like Institute for Deutsche Sprache, Institute for Language and Processing in Athens, University of Gothenburg, Institute of Polish Language, Hungarian Academy of Sciences, and so on and so on. So each institute actually uses its own software, basically. And now I get to a summary. It was not done in Vienna. I would like to instigate, let's say, a discussion about some things that came to our mind when we analyzed data. So we can say that for various reasons, which I would, I think that we will think about it more in a paper that we will produce on the basis of the analysis. Larger institutions or institutions prefer developing their own software, as I said. This is the case shown from the survey. We also can observe that specialized software is developed for or within individual projects. It's not even that. So the institution uses its own software, but for various projects within these different software, different projects, many times. It's also a known fact, I would say, and that's why we went to this trouble with this survey, that new and custom dictionary writing systems are not documented. They are just used. So we wanted to get a little bit of information what is actually used. And it's not offered as, let's say, open source software. And we also found that it's not uncommon that software is used past development or maintenance, which means that, well, everybody knows that software has to be maintained because there is change of operating systems, whatever, everything changes all the time. And if you have software from the middle of the 90s, it will probably not work. And what people do in some cases is they have a special computer which has the, I don't know, Windows 3.1, which they use for producing their nice dictionary in the same way that was produced 10 years or more ago. But also. And we found out that type of work determines the choice of software. So if you work in terminology, if you work in bilingual dictionaries, in monolingual dictionaries, you would typically use different kind of software. For corpus query systems, the use of open source platforms is much more common in the case of. So what you would still do, I mean, except in those cases that were on the previous slide, you would take an open source platform, put your corpus. And the software as such is offered under open source licenses more than in the case of so these are the findings, summary of what we found. And the questions which may or may not arise from findings is, can we imagine a common open source writing platform? Would it be good? Because the practice as such shows otherwise, that everybody loves their own software and they put enormous amount of time in the development of the software. So the question is whether to put more time in producing the dictionary, just having a common, let's say, European platform you can just take off the shelf, do some tweaking maybe for your particular project, and it's just sitting there being maintained and developed further. Second question is probably, is it this? So we have a lot of collaborative lexicography all over internet. So can it be a similar platform for collaborative lexicography and for professional lexicography? Probably not. The question is there. So how do you develop it, maintain it? Do you do it on the platforms such as GitHub, or how is it organized? This is the third line. Does it have to work also offline? Because all collaborative lexicography is done online. Is wikis, as was hinted at before, the right platform, something like this, or some other one? And I put here, well, just as a representative, Moses Core. So, for instance, European Commission put a lot of money into developing a general open source machine translation system. They want it to be used in all projects wherever. They just put it, develop it, maintain it. So, is it viable that something like this could be also done for dictionary writing, corpus query systems? And for corpus query systems, questions would be, do we need it in more integration? Because I think this is the direction that we are heading. Is the integration something desirable or not? And in the end, because corpus query systems are now a lot also for language learning, language so on, is it the same thing? Because lexicographers do more complicated things. I think that in Sketch engine workshop, we saw just that kind of a software is used by lexicographers. Does it need to be simplified? Vice versa. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. I think we have 5 minutes for questions, discussion time.
Okay, thanks for the survey. Well, about this slide, I think the future is now, because there is a grassroots effort with very little input from professional lexicographers, and there is, of course, the Wiktionary. And the community built quite a nice DWS for writing dictionaries by amateurs, for amateurs. So that's just my comment.
Can I have a question for you, Radovan?
Sure.
So do you think it's perfect for collaborative lexicography? What about the professional?
Yeah, I am not sure. Actually, they put a lot of effort into eliminating some small issues that you need to put a lot of effort into, like I mean latency, because we built our own wiki-based systems, but there were programming problems and latency problems which make the work difficult. I mean, not pleasant. not in the sense of writing dictionaries, but in the sense of waiting after you click on the entry. And if you put a lot of effort into this, you get a good system that feels nice. And this is what Wiktionary does. And so it might be possible to use, but then again, with some tweaks for the specific project.
More questions?
Are you aware of any studies that explicitly compare and benchmark the different dictionary writing systems and corpus query systems? Or did people answering the survey do that when they had to decide on whether to develop their own dictionary writing system or buy into an existing one? Do you know of any of these people that explicitly tried to compare functionality and stuff like that?
No, there is a good reason for that, because this is not documented at all. I think that the first time that we actually have an approximate overview of what is used at the institutions, because these the descriptions are not published of the software, so you cannot really compare. That's the thing. So I think my personal opinion is that people just ask their colleagues, because it's not a big community, and many times the problem is that if somebody developed a beautiful piece of software, they will not give it to another institution, but because they would have to maintain it also there. So that's the obstacle, I think. So I think that some open source thing.
I do not have a question, I have a remark. When you were speaking about Windows 3.1, we are using, one of our tool we are using is a DOS tool.
A DOS,
To be able to run it, we have a DOS emulator at every computer. And it works fine. It's a word cruncher, DOS version.
So you see, that's true.
Thank you. That was all we have got time for. Thank you, Simon, for the nice overview.